Um, Dear students, in this particular segment, I will be summarizing the first unit. Uh, so the summary of the first unit goes like this. So far you have understood the basic introduction to counseling psychology, in which you have understood what is the meaning and what is the definition of counseling. So there are various definitions given by many psychologists, and the prominent one, what you have studied in your syllabus, is Carl Rogers' definition of what counseling psychology is all about. In the next topic, you have come across what are the major aims of counseling. So, when we talk about aims of counseling, we also understood that it is very important in the initial stages that we need to keep in mind that the client becomes the priority, understanding the client's problems becomes the priority, and the main aim of counseling is to help the clients to basically get their own understanding of their own self and help the client to basically adjust to the situation in which they are living in. In the next topic, in the first unit, you came across with scope of counseling. So when we talk about scope of counseling, the first important area which we covered was couple and family counseling. We understood what is the importance of couple and family counseling and what is the role of psychologist in each of this, in each of these areas of counseling. And coming down to the next important scope of counseling is career counseling. So what is the role of a psychologist in career counseling? How to help students to do vocational guidance, and also how to basically help students who are having any kind of career difficulties, academic difficulties, and good study habits. In rehabilitation counseling, we understood the importance of, you know helping the clients basically who are in different rehab centers. So the role of the counselor in the primary level, the role of the counselor in secondary level, and the role of the counselor in tertiary level was understood. The next important scope of counseling which we understood was mental health counseling. So in mental health counseling, we basically understood the basic aspects of pathology and what would be the role of the counselor. And in the next important segment under the scope of counseling was substance abuse counseling. So, what are the different kinds of substances that the clients are consuming? How to deal with the withdrawal effects? And what is the role of the psychologist in basically giving group therapy was discussed in the scope of counseling. The next topic which you all understood was types of counseling. In types of counseling, we divided the types into directive counseling, it is called, non-directive counseling, and eclectic counseling. In directive counseling, we understood it is more oriented towards the counselor. So counselor would be mainly involving in the major decision making of the counseling session. In the non-directive form of counseling, we discussed the importance of Carl Rogers, and it is a very important counseling process which came from the humanitarian perspective. So in non-directive counseling, the client plays the predominant role in understanding the problem, identifying the goal setting, and also trying to reach to the goal stage. And we also understood that eclectic counseling is a combination of both. It's a mixture of both directive counseling as well as the non-directive counseling. Okay. Um, further, we Further, in the last topic of Unit 1, we in detail understood the history of counseling, where in the history of counseling, we divided them into Western perspective and history in Indian perspective. In the history of Western perspective, we understood what is trade in lunacy, So trade in lunacy is basically how clients were treated as lunatics, or how clients were treated as mentally ill, during the much before the 19th century. And coming down to the next aspect of the history of counseling psychology, we understood what were the major developments that happened during the 19th century. During 19th century, since the medicines got advanced, people really reflected the importance of mental illness. And when the importance of mental illness was given, probably treating the mentally ill patient's perspective completely changed. Next, we also discussed about the growth of therapy in USA. So when we talk about the growth of psychotherapy, I think Freud's contribution was really great in USA, where we gave importance to the past experiences of an individual that is affecting the current problems of the client. So moving on further after Freud, there was a huge revolution that took place in the counseling psychology after Carl Rogers started contributing to the field. So we all know that Carl Rogers' contribution to the field of psychology, especially in counseling psychology, is very great, because he was the person who gave the importance of directive form of non-directive form of counseling. In non-directive form of counseling, we basically understand the client's perspective. We basically allow the client to gain, or to gain a catharsis. Yeah. And so Carl Rogers' contribution is quite great in counseling psychology, because today we are using person-centered therapy largely in practice, and we are all aware of the importance of person centered therapy, how we apply the centered therapy in the real practice. Finally, we understood history of Indian perspective. So even in counseling psychology in India, we basically understood that how the establishment of career guidance happened, and we also mainly understood how the concept of guidance, okay, gave birth to the concept of counseling psychology. So in India, in various states, for example, in Calicut, in Delhi University, in Calicut, in Mysore University, the concept of guidance really created a lot of revolution. And today the concept of guidance is refined into counseling psychology. So I hope this video will help you to uh, have an understanding of Unit 1 in a nutshell. Thank you.